favorite scary movie.
They mostly come at night. Mostly.
I am the devil, and I am here to do the devil's work.
Your suffering will be legendary, even in hell.
They're here.
Welcome, victims, to the Horr-Gasm podcast. Kill the lights, lock the doors, get comfy, and prepare for the sexiest and scariest podcast around. I'm Nick. With me, as always, is my co-host, Ali.
Hi.
Hiya.
I just pulled a hair out of my mouth.
Ew.
I'm not even kidding. I was just like,
Ew.
ugh, why is this hair in my mouth? And I thought, oh, maybe it's Ichabod's. And I was like, nope, that's my hair. Head hair. Head hair. I already have PTSD from this movie and we just finished watching it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, ew, because we'll get into it. Our listeners, they'll find out why we're ewing about hair in the mouth, which, with me with a beard, I find out once in a while I'm like, blah, blah, take it away.
Well, I constantly get Ichabod's hair in my mouth, but it's not the same because it's like itty bitty little black small hairs.
Yeah.
Not black curly hairs. Huh.
Yuck.
Ugh.
Yuck, yuck, yuck.
Ugh.
Yuck. I think I have some PTSD from this movie too.
Like, really? Like, ugh.
Oh.
I'm never going to be able to drink, like, red drinks again. Get hair in my mouth without it really bothering me.
Movie sex scenes are going to be so much better after this movie. Wow.
This was a trip. This was a real trip.
Well, you got to see me watch it.
Yeah.
You were kind of waiting for it, so.
I knew all the big events that were gonna happen, and just because I've watched them previously and I've listened to people talk about it like to death, so I knew all the big things that were gonna happen, but I didn't know like the order they were gonna happen and like who was gonna die in what order, sort of, and how.
Yeah.
So I was just like, some of the things that happened, I was like, oh. Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, it was so it was like watching it for the first time.
Well, good. That's always good.
Yeah, it was
But
good.
I think before we get any farther into our talking shop, I'd like to
Yes.
take a moment, throw another shout out to Jan and his podcast, Talk and Chill. No, Beer and Chill. Oh my God, I'm going to get that out. Beer and Chill. I really just screwed up the name
I really
of your
enjoyed
podcast.
that. I was like, I think even I knew the name was Beer and Chill, but
I
that
totally.
was fun.
Now
I
I'm sure
enjoyed
I
that.
don't know if I want to edit this now. Jan,
Keep it in, it's fun.
huge apology, Jan. Oh wow.
When we were just listening to it too.
Oh wow. I feel so. You know what?
It's just one of those.
You know what?
days.
I'm because of my huge fuck up. This is a fuck up.
Oh.
I totally fucked that up, and I shouldn't. But I was always saying Talking Chop. I got Beer and Chill mixed up with Talking Chop. This movie is I'm blaming Midsommar. This is all Midsommar's fault. And so because of that, I think I'm now officially making an invitation to Jan and his friend to come on to Talking Chop, so I can properly apologize.
That sounds good.
So I'm making that invitation as we speak, and I hope Jan will take me up on the offer, and he'll maybe cut a promo on me or cut me down or something just to put me in my place, because I apologize for that. That was a big screw up. But
That's hilarious. People aren't going to forget it now.
no, I'll be known as the guy who fucked up by announcing and giving a shout out to Beer and Chill, not Talk and Chill, not Chop and Chill, Beer and Chill.
Chop and Chill sounds fun though.
That does sound fun.
Right? Like Chop and Chill. It sounds like a cool like bar,
Yes.
like a pub or something.
Yeah.
Get into that.
And when this episode gets released, I believe they'll be releasing. This actually episode released the other day, talking about Scotland, where Jan is currently living, and it's a great episode. You learn about just the country, and I believe his next episode is about Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I love it.
I do too.
Love Lord of the Rings.
And maybe when he's on Talking Shop and his friend is on there, I forget his name sadly. But when they're on, maybe we can talk about some of the horror aspects of Lord of the
Definitely.
Rings, because it's there.
I was talking to my sister about this the other day when she was doing my hair, and I was like, she's like, there were horror elements in Lord of the Rings, and I was like, definitely. She's like, what? And I was like, don't you remember the Shelob part? Like, that scared the crap out of me.
Yes, there's a bit of it's more fantasy monsters, but still, like
Still, that's scary.
the
you know.
Uruk-hai, when the first Uruk-hai gets born from like the
Yes.
mud, like the look, the animatronic, the look, it just looked wrong. The wargs,
Yes.
like they're like big old, like almost like werewolves, like
Exactly.
hyena werewolf things.
And I even think like the battle scene in the third one when Aragorn brings all the ghosts, like that
yeah.
whole ghost storyline
Yes.
was creepy. It scared the crap out of me.
The Balrog.
Yes.
And at the end of, or near the end of the first Fellowship of the Ring and beginning of the Two Towers.
Absolutely.
That thing is cool. That looks
Yes.
freaky as hell. I love the design. I really do.
Yes. Oh, so cool. Yeah, there's
And-
horror elements that are definitely in
Ring
Lord of the
Rings.
Rings.
Like, I remember when I first watched the trailer, I forget what movie it was for. I think it was Jackass 3, 2.
Sure.
It was 2. Jackass 1. It was Jackass 1. It's an old one. I first saw a trailer for this, and I got chills a bit. I'm like, what the heck is this? This is like a fantasy horror, which there's few out there. There's really not a big selection for fantasy horror out there.
Absolutely.
There's not.
Which
and there
is
should
weird because horror, I find in itself, like lots of the horror elements are fantasy.
Yeah.
Don't you think like ghosts, goblins, vampires, all that kind of stuff is technically fantasy?
Yeah, and fantasy is it depending on the movie, like one of the more horror-ish would be Dragon Slayer with.
Sure.
It's an old 80s movie, but it's got the whole dragon, the main character, I forget his
Right.
name. He's hunting the dragon down and all that. Okay.
And I always think of Dark Crystal as well.
Yeah,
like, I find
yes.
that sort of a weird, like, different world, sort of, is more of a
Yeah.
fantasy horror-ish. Like, that one obviously is kind of a kid's movie, so it's not super horror-y. But I think there's horror elements in that, too. We've talked about it on the podcast before. Right?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
It's just very rare to have usually fantasy is just fantasy. There's no, you have to have the romance and all that kind of in there, but I've never really seen a straight up horror fantasy movie.
Right.
I don't think there's one out there. And if there is, please, victims, let us know. Tell us, say, hey, numbnuts, it's this movie right here. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's,
That's interesting. And I watched Wishmaster this week.
ooh.
Yeah, and that's kind of a little bit fantasy-ish, I guess, sort of. I don't know, with the djinn and everything, but I don't know. It was weird.
But when I think fantasy, I think not modern. Like
See, and that's what I think too. It's
fantasy
like a
is like
different world.
castles and horse travel and swords and,
and
nice.
made up languages and
Yeah, like I don't know. There's a few that could be really well done,
I agree.
but
Yeah,
I just can't
for
think of
sure.
any. I cannot
No,
think of
I
a
can't
single
either.
horror fantasy movie.
Yeah, I'd really have
There's
to like.
there's fantasy
do my
with
brain.
horror elements, but
Sure.
that's not like a straight up horror. Like throw Jason in like medieval times.
Right, exactly.
Or have well, I guess the closest one would be Evil Dead: Army of
I
Darkness.
was just gonna say Army of Darkness.
That'd be the closest one I think we've had.
That's
to...
like barely a horror movie to begin with.
fair point. That's a good point.
More like a dark comedy almost. That's a good
yes,
one though. I
it is
love
so
that movie.
good. So
Like
good.
I don't mean that with any disrespect. Like it is such a good movie.
Oh God, yes.
But it just
So
it is what it
good.
is.
So, but let's way off topic as usual.
Yay!
Which is that's talking chop.
Yes.
Just
Couple
chop
good
away.
stuff.
We're just chopping away. But this week we watched Midsommar, and it has a very cult movie feeling,
Yes.
similar to like The Wicker Man.
Yes. Wicker Man,
or-
that's what we were talking
yes.
about before, yes.
Yes, or I'm trying to think of other good cult movies. What was that we reviewed? The
Apostle.
Apostle. Yes, that's
This movie gave me such Apostle vibes.
Yep.
As soon as they talked about like being one with the earth and like I don't know, blood things.
The Circle of Life.
Yeah,
and
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It felt very familiar. But I think Apostle was scarier. Not, like, I wouldn't say it was better done. I think they're two different movies.
Oh, very much.
But this one focused more on visuals. And it's much more subtle. And it doesn't really amp up until the end.
Yeah.
Which I told you about ahead of time. Ari Aster movies are very slow burning. And I love that about them. I love artistic sort of movies. And they still, like, this kind of stuff scares me way more than jump scares. Way more.
I can see that.
Yeah. It's just as how horror affects me as a person.
And you say it's a slow movie.
Yes.
It didn't feel slow to me.
Really?
It had a very steady pace. It doesn't really lull. It just, something's always going on.
Yeah, that you're always,
There's
even
not-
if it's very subtle.
Exposition is slim to none in
Yes.
this movie, which is fine. That's good.
For sure.
It works very well in this. Yeah, I can see the slow part, but
Yes.
it flowed. It was very well put together, and
Right?
yeah, it didn't lag, it didn't drop off for me. Yeah,
Awesome.
maybe the beginning. The beginning had a little bit of a bumpy start, but
Yeah, the beginning was kind of like, eh. But it, like I was saying at the very end, I was like, can you even believe this is the same movie we started watching?
Oh, yeah.
Because it starts in such a different place.
Yeah.
And, like, which is fine, but it just goes, like, a whole 180 immediately.
oh yeah.
But, oh, you're making me yawn.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's late. It's a late recording session tonight,
Yes.
so
Woohoo.
oof, late.
That's how we roll.
It's true.
So what kind of other culty movies do you think of? Like, I immediately go to Apostle, which is one that we've already talked about here, with, like, the gruesome deaths and that kind of stuff. But...
Cult movies. There's a few out there. I'm just pulling a blank right now.
I even think, have you seen Rosemary's Baby?
No, I have not.
It's a bit like that. That one is more of, like, a subtle cult sort of a movie. Like, they don't really say that it's actually a cult until closer to the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, cult movies are really creepy. And I actually listened to a podcast about, like, real life cults, and it's just the whole thought, like, about cults just creeps me out. Like, that someone has enough power to, like, basically brainwash people into thinking that all these wrong things are right.
Well,
And that scares the fuck out of me.
Manson.
Jim Jones.
Yeah.
Like all those kind of people.
Yep.
Oh.
So I went to our good friend Google.
Oh, yes. BFFs.
And I got some cult movies here, which
Okay.
I totally forgot. The Void. You haven't seen it yet? I have. It has a very do you have hair in mouth? Very
Did you say you had a hair in your mouth?
I do. Nice little whisker.
I think we're cursed.
Someone's trying to fall in love with me.
Yeah, someone's trying to fall in love with us.
Yeah. It's a very Lovecraftian inspired movie.
Interesting.
It's very graphic and not CGI graphic. It's very actual, good special effects.
Okay.
House of the Devil, done in 2009. Never heard of that one. Children of the Corn.
Oh,
That's
sure.
one of the
Yes.
most well known.
Yes.
Yep. Race with the Devil, 1975. Never heard that one. Red State. I've heard of it, but I don't think that'd be whatever. Mandy.
Oh, Mandy, really? Like the one from Shudder? Like with Nick Cage?
I think so. It's
I'm gonna
2018.
watch that. Yep. That would be it. Interesting. I'm gonna watch that one. I haven't watched it yet.
I heard it's not bad.
I heard it was good.
I know it was a
yeah.
cult movie. I thought it was just Nick Cage being Nick Cage and killing people.
Which, like, probably.
Oh, that's you're gonna win with that any day.
Yeah.
The Invitation.
Everybody will watch that.
I never heard of that one. Martyrs. I don't know if I call that a cult movie.
Which one?
Martyrs.
I don't know.
It's on. I'm sure it's on Shudder. It's the French movie. It's very psychedelic. It's a trip.
Okay.
Hereditary's on here.
Of course, yeah. So this is the thing, is that people think that Ari Aster's movies are connected. And the reason they think they're connected is because they all sort of have to do with different, like, pagan gods.
Yeah.
And so they're wondering if he's kind of intentionally, unintentionally making like an anthology almost.
Or a universe.
Yes.
That'd be cool.
Right. I think so too.
And then one of these is VHS 2.
Oh.
I think, I don't know if it's that one or the first one. I think there's total, I think, 3 VHS movies, which is, think Creepshow.
Sure.
You got like just short movie, like short stories.
Sure.
And I think it was the first one where this couple go into this cult and it's weird. It ends up with the woman, she gives birth to a full-on like goat demon.
Nice.
It kind of pops out of her stomach. And
Nice.
it's not like a baby. It's full grown. It's bigger than her and just comes out. And it chases down the dad. So it's creepy but cool at the same time. It has very One Kind of the Dead feel to it.
Fun.
So.
I watched that movie again after we watched it. I just love it. It's a good one.
I'm still looking for that in the at Walmart and Sunrise Records because
Sure.
I'd like to have it. I'd like to have that
Yeah.
just because it's a good movie.
It is. It totally is. Yeah. Well, should we talk about the good movie we watched this week?
Okay.
Don't think of hair. I promise. All right, so this week, obviously, we watched Midsommar. It's a 2019 movie, and it was written and directed by Ari Aster. So, he did double duty on this one,
Yep.
which is awesome, and he's great. So I'm glad that he did that.
A budget of $9 million.
I believe it. Well, probably just for location,
Yeah, that's right.
honestly.
Yeah. Made
There's
47,
there-
almost 48 million. Could have made more, I think, on
For
this.
sure.
But
People were nervous to see this because Hereditary got like completely just ripped apart for some
Yeah.
reason. Like I loved it.
on my Facebook groups, I follow like the horror groups.
Yes.
Hereditary and Midsommar always get brought up, and there's a big mixed reaction. There's
There
a
is,
lot of
yeah.
positive and a lot of negative to both movies.
Yes.
I haven't seen Hereditary yet, but I've now seen Midsommar. For those who are all about the scare and all that, I can see Midsommar being a disappointment.
Yes.
But with the effects, with the gore, the just the creepiness,
Yes.
it's not bad. It's a good movie.
Sure. Yeah, I think if you go into it with an open mind and know that you're not gonna they're not gonna jump scare you, it's very I would call it practical horror.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is like lots of dead bodies, like very graphic, realistic dead bodies.
Oh yes.
Lots of mutilation,
If
lots
this-
of that kind of stuff.
This is like a movie that would be huge in the 80s.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
This is like almost like an old timey field movie.
Exactly.
Just how it's
Well, it could
paced
be.
and everything.
It could have very easily been made in the 80s.
Yep.
The thing I think that sets it apart from like the 80s sort of movies, I think is the imagery that they use, the symbolism they use, the shots, like the wide shots, the close shots, like that kind of stuff that maybe wouldn't have been as attainable in the 80s. Like I'm thinking of like the stuff breathing as they're hallucinating.
Yes,
stuff.
yes.
That
That'd be
sort of stuff I think couldn't have been done, but like everything else, totally. It feels, maybe that's why I
Yeah.
like it so much. I love 80s movies.
Yep.
But yeah, I like this movie.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well, how did you hear about this movie?
I saw the ads actually when it was coming out. And then I just kind of sat on it because I didn't have anybody to go with. So I was like, whatever. And I kind of like made sort of loose plans to go and then I never did. And then another podcast I listened to talked about it and I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to watch it. And I watched part of it. And then like I mostly just watched the parts that like everybody talks about. So like
Yeah.
the ending and I don't know, different, gory parts, like the cliff part and that sort of stuff. So I kind of sort of had an idea what was going to happen, but nothing concrete, nothing in order, nothing very, like, even when you listen to people talk about it, like, but that's why we encourage everybody to go watch the movies that we talk about, because it is a completely different experience. 100% than when you watch it yourself, than when we just say, oh, and then this person got their head bashed in. It's like, yeah, okay, but you don't know the graphic.
Yeah,
like,
we also, like,
these eyes.
like, as we were, like, our reviews and all that, and it's full of spoilers, but I'm also leaving some parts out. Like,
Yes.
I'm not going through the entire movie.
No,
and I do that intentionally.
Yeah, we started doing that when we first started the podcast, but then we realized that the plot, like, people aren't really listening for the plot 100%. They're more listening for, like, what we have to say, I guess, about it.
I think
more or
so.
less.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's major spoilers in here, but we also throw in our opinion. We kind of discuss.
Go on a tangent.
Yeah, discuss some of the scenes that we find were interesting, which we got a couple doozies coming up.
Oh my gosh.
Fuck.
I'm
Literally.
never going to Sweden.
Oh.
Maybe,
not?
okay, I'm not going to any farms on Sweden. Let me narrow it down a bit, maybe. Because, oh my god. Like, I'm traumatized.
You just got to be the summer lady.
Yes, never in the summer.
And it's only every 90 years.
Yes.
So there you go. So you got a window.
That's true. I just can't believe the thing that creeps me out so much about this movie is that it could happen. Everything that happened is like, nothing is super fantastical about it,
Ooh. What was that one Far Cry game with the cult?
Okay, like every one of them. Are you talking about Far Cry 3?
No, it was the newer one. They were in America.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Far Cry,
I think
Far
that's,
Cry 5.
Yeah, I thought it was 5.
Yeah, it's 5.
That is quite similar to this.
They're all culty. The third was very culty. You actually go on a trip and wake up and you're banging the, like, priestess.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. That's
what I was thinking.
Yes, I'm thinking.
But
I
get what you mean.
I'm thinking the one
one
with where
it's like
the sister.
Yes.
She's got the flowers of the hallucinogenic drug,
Yep.
and you kind of keep seeing her everywhere. So.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's lots of culty games. I guess I didn't even think about Far Cry, but you're right.
Yeah.
Huh.
Dead Space.
Yes. Definitely.
Dead Space, huge
The whole
cult.
second one is like you're going to like churches and stuff where they like praise the monsters and stuff.
I need to finish that one.
Oh, spoiler alert.
That's okay. That's okay.
Not a huge plot point in those movies, but yeah. Oh my gosh. Crazy. Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. Well, how did you hear about this movie?
I think I just heard it through trailers and word of mouth online. I just never got into watching it.
Yes.
I don't know. I remember seeing the trailer. I'm like, whatever. It didn't really pique my interest.
Right.
And now thinking about it, it would have been interesting, very interesting to watch this in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Just
oh man.
Because
we need to make a point of it of going to more, I mean, obviously after the COVID, we need to go to more theater releases of horror
Antlers. As soon as Antlers is out in theaters,
Which
we're
one is
going.
that one?
That's one with the not the Wendigo.
Oh yes, we talked about this either last week or the week before.
Oh, this was a while ago. Yes, we have talked about Antlers.
Yes.
It looks so good. I think this looks like a good monster movie. It looks creepy as hell. I'm excited. That and Bill and Ted 3, but
yes.
That's not
Is that a horror movie?
No, but that's okay.
Throwing it out there.
I love Bill and Ted.
Yes.
I love Bill and Ted. So let's go through the actors.
Let's do it.
So the cast: Florence Poe.
Yeah.
Poe stars as lead as Danny Ardern. Jack Rayner plays Christian Hughes, who you learn to hate pretty quick. William Jackson Harper is Josh. Wilhelm Blomgren as Pell.
Oh, yes.
Will Poulter as Mark, and we love him.
Yes.
This is a guy who was in Meet the Millers.
Oh, We're the Millers.
We're the Millers.
Yeah.
He was in Chronicles of Narnia as the kind of snotty kid in second and third one.
And he was in Maze Runner.
Yes,
Where I saw him in originally as well. He did a lot of kid acting before. Obviously, he has to be more adult.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
he's a great actor. I love this guy.
He's a good actor, and very like his mannerisms. I think are what really put him over the top. I always think.
Yeah. Like we were watching at the beginning, I told him, this guy, he plays panicky and uncomfortable stupidly well.
Yes,
like,
he does.
He literally thinks, okay, this guy isn't acting. He is uncomfortable in this scene.
Yes.
I love the guy. I'd love to meet him, just have a chat with him.
He's
great actor.
Fabulous.
I can't stop saying good things about him.
Yes. Yeah, I hope he has a very long career because I will watch every one of his movies.
He needs a good break because he deserves every bit of it. Elola Torchier is Connie.
Connie? Was she the girl?
Yeah, she was the other girl.
The London girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Archie Medqui is Simon. Mm-hmm. Henrik Norlin is Ulf. And Gunnel Fred is Steve. And Isabella Grill as Maya.
Oh, Maya, yeah.
And then there's a bunch of other just side characters.
There's lots of characters.
There's a lot of characters. This is a very big movie.
Yes, there's a lot of actors and actresses in this. So when you say the budget, I totally believe that for actors, actresses, and like location.
Well, they're from.
For sure.
Well, they weren't in Sweden, but I forget where they filmed. They made it look like
Hungary,
Sweden.
Didn't you?
Yes, that's right.
And even like I would think props and special effects, that would be a huge one as well.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of mushy bodies going on.
Yeah.
A lot of dismemberment, so like all that good stuff, all that good horror movie stuff.
Oh yeah, that's the best part.
Bleh, bleh, bleh.
All right, so then.
So yeah.
Guess should we get into it?
Yes, definitely.
Let's get into the plots. So as I gotta find it now. There it is. Okay, so movie starts off with psychology student Danny Arter is traumatized after her sister Terry kills herself and her parents may find her home with carbon monoxide.
Oh man, we jump like right into it.
Oh, yeah.
They don't even talk about any of that, hey? Oh my god. So I'll just go into it real quick. So why we hate Christian, Act 1. She gets this email from her sister, and her sister's like, there's only darkness, but it's okay because mom and dad are going to join me in the darkness, and blah, blah, blah.
Goodbye. Yeah, we find out that she's bipolar. Her sister's bipolar, and she sent Danny an email or something a couple days ago, and she's freaking out. No one's answering. She's calling home. What the hell? And we find out that... Well, she's also trying, she's calling her boyfriend Christian.
Yes.
And
he's like brushing her off.
Yeah.
And making her, like, she calls him bawling, and she's like something is wrong. Like, wrong. And he's like, no, everything's fine. She's just dramatic, and, you're just feeding into it and enabling and all this kind of stuff. And she's like, oh. And
to be fair, also, Mark, his buddy Mark, is not helping anything.
Piece of fucking garbage is what Mark is.
Yeah.
Ugh. And so they're basically telling him to like break up with her. And then as he's like, yeah, maybe I will, then she gets a call that her parents and sister are dead in like a murder-suicide. So that's cool.
Oh, the poor girl is just traumatized. Ugh. And then you see how her daughter like did it, or her sister did it.
Yes.
Like the old, 2 vehicles running in the garage. She duct taped
the
exhaust to hoses.
Yeah.
One hose goes to her parents' room and they're sleeping with the door duct taped shut. And the other was duct taped right to her mouth.
Yes.
Yuck.
Yeah, and it is very graphic.
It's
very,
yucky.
very graphic.
Yeah. So the incident strains Danny's relationship with her emotionally distant boyfriend. That's
what we're going to call him, emotionally distant?
That's putting it lightly. Cultural anthropology student Christian Hughes. She later learns that Christian and his friends Mark and Josh have been invited by their mutual Swedish friend Pelle, to attend a midsummer celebration at Pelle's ancestral commune, the Harga. Harga? Mm-hmm. Okay. In Hälsingland.
Sure.
These are tough words. Mm-hmm. The celebration occurs only once every 90 years, and Josh, also an anthropology student, wants to write his thesis on it. Christian had hidden the trip from Danny, wanting to break up with her before leaving, but invites her along after she finds out about it.
Yeah, because he's just such a nice guy.
He's a dick.
There's this one scene, and it's much later, but it really, this is the scene where, like, you were reading the trivia, and I was like, Nick, did you just hear what he said? And I was, like, ready, like, there was multiple times where I, like, stopped what I'm doing and, like, stare you in the face, and I'm like, is this for real?
Yeah.
So, it's her birthday while they're in Sweden, and Pele draws her a picture. And she's like, oh, wow, thanks so much. And he's like, yeah, you know, I sure it's, you know, nothing like Christian got you. And she's like, well, he actually, like, forgot, so. And Pele's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. And she's like, no, it's my fault. Like, I didn't remind him it was my birthday, so, you know, really, it's my fault. I should apologize. And I was just like, what am I listening to? Is this the Twilight Zone? Like, it hurt me to listen to that kind of stuff. Like, what?
Oh, dear.
Just to give you guys an idea of how much I liked Christian.
Yeah. The group flies to Sweden and arrives at the commune, where they meet Simon and Connie, an English couple from London who are invited by Pele's communal brother, Ingmar. Mm-hmm. He offers the group psychedelic mushrooms, and Danny has hallucinations of Terry while under the drug's influence.
This was such a good part. Such an accurate depiction of people on mushrooms. Like, Mark especially.
and how Pele's kind of explaining a bit of what's going on.
Yes.
And how the nature's breathing. And you kind of see that.
Yeah. It's one of the few times we actually get some exposition about and foreshadowing about what's going to happen. So it's nice to sort of listen. It's too bad that Mark overshadows it with his paranoia.
Oh, God, yes. That's so funny.
Guys, something's not right. Guys, I think I need to lie down. Why don't you lie down, too?
We should all lie down.
Lie down. Oh, look, it's a new guy. I don't like new people. Go away, new people.
What time is it? 9. Well, that's not right. It's bright out. The sky's blue.
The sky is blue.
I don't like this. He's tripping out so bad.
Hilarious.
It's funny.
Yes, but then Danny has a freak out and like just starts running.
Yeah. So they get to the village.
Yes, finally.
And tensions rise after the group witnesses these are big words. A testupa.
Yes.
A tradition which sees 2 community elders killing themselves by leaping from a cliff onto a rock.
Oh, so they have like this big dinner, and the table's shaped like that weird symbol that's on everything, right?
Yeah.
So they sit on these really funky tables, and then
it's like a Nordic rune.
Yes, exactly. And they, like, nobody's allowed to sit until the elders sit, and you can't eat until they start eating, and like, it's weird.
It's very traditional.
And you're not entirely sure what's going to happen, but they load them up on like these chair carts and carry them to this cliff. And all the other like cultists, I guess, we're just going to go straight out and call them cultists, are at the bottom of the cliff. And these people just fucking face dive off this cliff.
Yeah.
And it is like very graphic. Like the one lady, her head, the first one who jumps off, she splits her head right into mush. Her whole face immediately just turns to mush. And the second guy...
Yeah, she like bullseye that rock, too.
Yeah,
she just
Which,
face plants.
like, that's the way to go, because the second guy, when he jumps off, he just breaks his leg. Like, obviously, there's a lot of internal trauma happening on him, because he is, like... And he's groaning and moaning. And then all these people start groaning and moaning as well. Yeah. And you're kind of like, what? And Simon and Connie are like, what the fuck? Like, stop them. Like, sir, don't jump. Oh my God.
Yeah, Donnie has a nice PTSD scene where she's just in shock.
Yes.
Everything is muffled. Like, she's so out of it. So.
And she, like, almost hallucinates again, and she sees, like, her parents at the rock, and she's, like, freaking out, and she needs to leave, like, then.
Yeah, because of her parents dying, she's very... emotional.
Yes.
And there's a word for it. Prone to
Panic attacks.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she gets panic attacks where she gets rapid breathing and her vision goes blurry and she
Just
keels
cries.
over.
She just cries.
Yeah. Yes.
Uncontrollable cries. So, when one of the elders survives the fall,
Yes.
the
this is what
guy,
I was just talking about. Yeah.
the commune members mimic his wails of agony and crush his skull with a mallet.
Yes.
While commune elder Siv attempts to calm Danny and her friends by explaining that this is a normal thing every member does when they reach the age of 72.
Which, even at this part, as an outsider, I don't know if, it would obviously trigger, what the fuck feelings. But, I could get almost how they could explain it away.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's because how they explain is it's just a circle of life and, there's no point in dragging it out and, then we honor them by naming the next born baby after them and this is not that weird and they're like, okay.
I believe it.
Yeah.
You've already convinced me, so I guess
right? And
I'm
that's the
just
thing is it's okay,
cold
I
fodder.
feel it.
Yeah.
But, also, taking a head dive off a cliff does not sound nice.
No.
But I mean, if you've been indoctrinated since you were a kid and now you're in your early 70s, yeah, you're probably going to be like, this
is your life, and you're basically waiting for this to happen. You're excited, not excited, but you want to happen.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, because it's how they do things. Mm-hmm. The scene disturbs the group, but they decide to stay long enough for Josh to finish his thesis, while Simon and Connie decide to leave.
Yeah.
An elder tells Connie that Simon has already left without her. Confused and suspicious, Connie decides to leave on her own.
Yeah.
Later, a woman's wail is heard in the distance.
Yeah, they kind of cut to everybody, and they all hear this scream, this panic sort of scream, and just kind of what they're doing as they hear this scream. And they all sort of, everybody from the States, I guess that's the U.S. students, they all hear it. But the cultists pretend like they hear nothing, and they just keep doing what they're doing. Yeah. So nobody really makes a fuss.
And also, every night, there's a baby crying.
Yes.
For the entire night.
Yes.
We have never seen that baby.
Yeah, we did in the beginning scene. In the very beginning, when they're all in that double layer thing, there's a little crib by the one lady.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
But just that once, we never see the baby. Oh, except when they're eating. And she's like, oh,
that's
this is
right.
blah, blah, blah.
That's
and, the mother's gone off. Because between, what was it? 16 and 32?
No, I think it's 9.
Because it's to 72. 19 to 36. Is that it? Every 19? No. Anyways, but when you then you go off and kind of do your own thing and come back. And so the baby actually isn't that woman's baby, but everybody takes care of the babies that are born.
Yeah.
So yeah, just sort of a communal, obviously, because it's communal living.
Yeah. Christian, the big dummy, also decides to write his thesis on the Horr-Gasm, creating a rift between him and Josh, who accuses him of copying his idea.
Which, he's not wrong.
He totally was.
He was.
Meanwhile, Danny's already weak mental state deteriorates.
Yes.
Exacerbated.
Yeah.
By her decision to leave her supply of the anti-anxiety medication Ativan at home. Mm-hmm. After Mark unwittingly urinates on an ancestral tree and incites the fury of the commune, he is lured away during dinner by a female member who feigned interest in him.
Yeah.
That night, though, Josh sneaks into the temple to take a photograph of the commune's sacred runic text, which an elder had previously forbidden him from doing.
Yes.
He sees a nude man wearing Mark's skinned face and is hit over the head, after which his body is dragged away.
That was a really messed up scene. That was hard.
I think that was his whole body. I think that was his whole body was skinned.
Yes.
Not just his face. So
I agree with that.
Whoever wrote this on Wikipedia, I should fix it. I'm going to edit it later. The next day, Danny is coerced into taking more psychedelic drugs and ends up winning a maypole dancing competition. Woo-hoo. Subsequently, being crowned May Queen.
Right.
At the same time, Christian is given more drugs for being coerced into a sex ritual designed to impregnate one of the female members, Maya.
Yes.
While older naked women members watch.
Yeah.
Let's get into this because
Yeah, let's unpack this because all of this was a whole scene. So they start off by where they're sleeping. There's like murals almost on the wall of different traditions. And one of them is a woman cutting off her downstairs hair.
pubic hair.
Yeah. And
It's almost like a spell.
yes. And then she has her lover eat that. And then she simultaneously, when she has her period, she collects the blood and pours it into a drink for the guy she wants to impress, and he drinks it, and then they fall in love and live happily ever after.
Basically, it's a love spell. It's
Yes.
it's just to make them be more. It doesn't really seem to work though, because Christian didn't really want to.
Yeah, I think if he wasn't under the influence.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
it was foreshadowed pretty heavy
Yes.
early on.
The whole time it basically was.
Yeah. And so he gets led by flower petals to the barn
Very romantic.
where there's now movie-wise, she was 15. She's
Sure.
at the age to have sex.
Oh yeah, they talked about that.
Yes. Luckily, the actress is like 20. But basically, she's just laying there in this bed of flower petals
Yeah. Yep.
with 12 other older women, all naked,
Yep.
in like a semicircle around her.
Yes.
And he walks in. The one of them, not the oldest, but one of the older ones comes in, undresses him, and basically leads him to have sex with the girl.
Yes, with Maya.
Yes, with Maya. And they start, and every time that Maya makes a sound, everyone else does too. And I'm assuming her mother
Yeah.
or grandmother, I'm not sure which, she gets right down in there and she grabs her hand and holds her hand to her face
Yeah.
while Christian is, and in his
Doing
his
his
expression,
thing.
his expression is hilarious. And there's full on male nudity, female nudity.
Yep.
There is nothing you don't see.
Nope.
You see everything.
Yeah.
So there's a big old noodle alert here for
yeah.
this scene in this movie. And as she's cradling Maya's hand, she's kind of singing to her, kind of
Yes.
trying to. It's almost like she's, just don't worry, it hurts, but it'll get better, kind of thing.
And she's like making eye contact with Christian.
Or she grabs his head and pulls him to look right at her.
Yeah, like
And
it's.
his reaction though is hilarious. He's like,
He kind of stops and he's like, okay.
and,
So
and it's almost like he's encouraging. No, you keep going.
yes.
You don't stop. You keep that thrusting.
Exactly.
And at the same time, we cut. They also have Danny's distracted with her
Yes.
May Queen activities and all that
Now,
duties.
Yeah. She has to bless everything now.
Yes, yeah. She's like the maid of honor of almost like just someone. She's an important person.
Yes.
And we cut back to Christian and the women, and there's a girl. There's an older woman. Both hands on his ass, pushing,
Yes.
helping along.
Yeah. Helping the thrusting actions.
Yeah.
And now he's moaning in unison with everybody. Now
Yeah.
it's just like like it was strange. It was very strange. And like I'm totally here for strange, and that's like obviously a lot of things happened before this as well, but that's the time where you're like, okay, this is like a full-fledged cult. Like this is straight up like sacrificial. Like
Yeah.
and then he finishes, which is great. And then Maya starts rocking. She pulls her knees to her chest and starts rocking. And she's like, I can feel it. I can feel the baby inside me. And I'm like, oh.
And that alone, Christian's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Not the other women, not the
Nope.
pushing on his ass. The fact that she says, I can feel the baby. He's like, nope, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. So, Danny discovers Christian and Maya having sex. She has a panic attack, during which the comedian's younger women surround her and mimic her cries.
Yeah, that was a messed up scene too. They like pull her into her sleeping quarters, and
they just
like,
kind of surround her and
yeah.
hold her, and every time she screams, they scream at the same time in the
Yes.
same type.
And like as she's like hyperventilating, they hyperventilate with her and stuff. Like her pain is their pain.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting how they did it.
Yeah, and how she wins the May Queen
Yeah.
by like a dancing competition.
Yeah.
Last woman standing wins.
Right.
And in this competition, like they're not trying to fight each other or anything. They're all together.
Yeah.
And after when she wins, like all of them just surround
They're
Danny.
so happy for her.
They are, and I find that's very interesting. And I'm
Right.
like, that's nice. You know, it's not.
And when she's having issues in like every aspect, she doesn't technically have her family anymore. Her boyfriend treats her like garbage. Her friends, like she doesn't really have any friends, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, to have that acceptance and that understanding would be all that it would take. And that's how people like in cults do it, is they find people who are vulnerable.
Any mention of family, she is instantly heartbroken.
Yes.
And she cries and she has to walk away because she's already instantly overwhelmed.
Yes, exactly.
And this whole commune is one big family.
Exactly.
So after the ritual, Christian comes to his senses and tries to run away. But he instead discovers Josh's leg planted in a flower bed.
Yeah.
And Simon's body, which has been turned into a blood eagle in a barn.
Yes.
Christian is then paralyzed by an elder. Now, for those who don't know what a blood eagle is,
Yeah,
I'd explain to you. It's an old, rumored Viking torture tactic, where they would take a guy, they would cut his back open, they would cut the ribs to the attached to like the spine, exposing the lungs, and they would pull the lungs out, and basically just splay the skin, the bones, and the lungs back.
Yes.
In like wings. And they would hang him also by like in a crucifixion or just hanging.
Yes.
And that would be dubbed the Blood Eagle.
And that's exactly what's happening to Simon.
And
He has
he's
flowers in
still
his eyes
alive.
Yes.
And you don't
and
die right
he-
away. You're just in a lot of pain.
You can see his lungs breathing.
Yeah, a little bit. Then it stops.
He groans a lot. Not a lot, very faintly, but you can hear him groaning, and you're just like, oh, okay.
That's not
That's
good.
a thing that's happening.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. The commune leaders explained to Danny that to purge a commune of its evil, 9 human sacrifices must be offered.
Yes.
There's a lot of little 9 is a big thing with them. Every
sure.
9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 3 is, because I think that's how they judge the age group between, I think, 27 and 36.
Is that
20,
it?
24 and 36. 9
There
times.
were only 4 because there's 4 seasons.
Yes. But
And
it's,
it goes
it's,
to 72.
it's in 9s, so.
It's 72 to 54, and 54 to 36. And then is it 36 to 18? And then 18
Must
to
be.
0?
Yeah, it must be.
That feels right.
That does. It's in 9s.
Yes.
So, the first 4 victims are outsiders: Mark, Josh, Simon, and Connie.
Yes.
Lured to them by Pell and Ingmar. While the next 4 victims must be commune members. As May Queen, Danny must choose either Christian or local villager to be the 9th and final victim. She chooses to sacrifice Christian.
Which, like, fair.
Yeah, who is stuffed into a disemboweled brown bear's body and placed in a small wooden temple alongside the other live sacrifices and corpses.
Yes.
The temple is set on fire, and the commune members celebrate by mimicking the screams and wails of those being burned alive.
Yes.
Danny initially sobs in horror, but gradually begins to smile.
Which,
The
like,
end.
is so messed up. Like, what?
Well, she has a family now,
Yeah.
so she's not alone anymore. She can
Oof.
move on.
Is that what we're calling it?
I am. That's how I read it.
You know, I would love to see a sequel. I would love to see a sequel. I wonder what they could do. Like, do they bring more people now?
Well, it'll be in 90 years.
Interesting.
So next one would be in 90 years, and Danny would be dead by
So
then.
then what do they do for the next 90 years?
I think they have like a yearly thing.
But not like the Mayflower.
No.
Okay.
Just like, yes, when you're in 72, you jump off the cliff. Yeah, it sounded like there's a lot also inbreeding. We also, I feel like there's a lot of things we didn't touch on during our review here. Like there's this one on purpose inbred character who he's like a seer.
Yes.
An
oracle, they call him.
Yeah. He just kind of colors into the text of
Yes.
the book, and they interpret it. Mm-hmm. And we find out, they explain the whole circle of life.
Right.
We kind of touched on that, but also you can, when Pelate tells Danny about how everything breathes, you can see that the trees are breathing.
Yes.
When she is wearing she's the May Queen, she has the flower hat, and she's sitting on like a throne of vines and leaves. Everything's breathing.
Yes.
Everything's moving. And it's like she's now connected to everything through the drugs helps.
Exactly.
But
they're
she's connected.
constantly on hallucinogens as well, and I think that's part of how they keep them there is when you're under the influence and they are explaining their ways. It seems almost more believable.
Yeah.
Right? And more like, and they seem to be like not sleep deprived, but they seem to not be getting a ton of sleep because she has to ask for sleeping pills every night from Josh.
Well, it's also,
she cannot sleep.
It's also really bright all the time. The sun doesn't really go down.
Yes, the sun only goes down for a couple hours, and it doesn't even really go down. It just gets like darker or not dark because it's the summer solstice.
It's like opposites 3 days of night.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, we find out that Connie, she dies by being drowned.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite a movie.
This movie's a trip.
It is. It is literally and figuratively a trip.
If you are one who takes mushrooms, like magic mushrooms, and you haven't seen this movie before, take them. double the, you'll blow your mind. You'll be so freaked out. I would like to watch this again on hallucinogens just so I can get an idea of just how fucked up this movie can be.
It would be scary because there's like a lot going on.
Oh,
there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be something.
And in the beginning, if I recall correctly, the beginning has like a mural kind of events, and that kind of explains the movie.
Interesting.
Itself. So.
Yeah, I believe it. There's lots of foreshadowing if you look for it, just because the imagery and the sounds and everything in this are very. A
lot. It's got tons of foreshadowing.
Yes, tons.
It's got a very one of the weirdest sex scenes I've ever seen.
Yes.
That's a doozy.
Yeah.
That was something. Again, we got full on nudity from male and female. Yeah, it's.
Yeah. It's got a little bit of everything.
It does. It's a twisted movie.
And it is different, and that's what I like about
There's
these
nothing,
sort of movies.
There's nothing really, no jump scares or anything, but they kind of rely on the visuals to startle you, to make you uncomfortable,
and gore. There's lots of gore and graphic scenes those sort of scenes are meant to shock you.
Yes.
I think more so than a jump scare.
Yeah.
But still shocking, just different kind of shock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what would you rate this movie?
I give it a 3.
Awesome.
3 out of 5 Horr-Gasms. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
Again, I can see where some people who don't like it, I get it.
Totally.
I 100% get it.
Yeah.
But this is a very artsy, visually stimulating movie.
Yes.
It's a little bit out there, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It could be a lot worse. The gore, the graphic scenes, they make up for it. That helps. It's very cultural accurate.
Okay.
I like that about it too. A lot of singing, a lot of humming. Yeah, it's. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good movie.
Yay! Yay! I'm so glad you liked it because, like you said, it's one of those things where it really could go either way. Like I've heard both sides of it, and so yeah. Because I would probably give it like a 4. This is one of my favorite kind of movies. The artsy fartsy sort of one with gore. I like gore over typical horror. And the shots. Like, also Hereditary is one of my favorite movies. So
you brought this up right at the beginning, and I had to agree with you 100%. The way the filmmaker did these shots, the way he did his, it was great.
Yes.
You had a scene where Danny and Christian are talking. You have Danny in the foreground.
Yeah.
And there's a mirror next to her, and in reflection is Christian.
Yes.
And having to talk, no cuts, just that.
Yes.
I liked that.
Yeah,
that was a good, well done scene.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
There's the visuals in Hereditary are exactly the same. There's shots where when you're kind of almost, things start getting like possessed in Hereditary, they start doing more shots from the ceiling, so you're getting more top-down views.
Oh yeah.
And I just love that sort of artistic sense that you get from it. And that makes the movie more real to me, because that's how you would normally see conversations, different uses of color. Like everything is very colorful in this movie.
Oh yeah.
It's not like a typical horror movie where it can be dark and dreary. It's like it's always daytime. It's
There's only
never nighttime.
the beginning and one dream sequence. It's night.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. So to have such a scary-ish movie all in the daytime is one of those things where it's like horror really can be anything.
Yep.
Horror can be anything you want it to be.
Yep.
Even the cliff scene, like everything is white. The cliffs are white. Everybody's dressed in white, wearing flowers. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, this movie is one of those movies that just really does it for me. I loved it.
I liked it. Visually, it's a beautiful movie.
It is. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
It's got a pretty
Yay.
good cast, and I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Me too.
Now,
Yay.
we don't have our executive producer here. She's off in bed. But did she tell you the kill of the flick?
I mean, sure. We kind of, there's a lot of kills in this. She was partial to the cliff scenes.
Yeah.
With just straight up mush.
Yeah.
But it's also hard to ignore the blood eagle.
Yeah, that'd be mine. I choose
Right.
just because you never see it.
Yes.
It's something so rare nowadays, and yeah, I give it. I think the kills of the flick would be the cliff suicides and the blood eagle.
I just feel like I wasn't ready to watch the entire face disintegrate into mush. I think that's the part where I was like, oh, here we are. Okay, this is what we're doing.
Well, you don't even really see it. Like you see the drop, you see the fall, you see her smack the rock, and then you zoom in and like, oh, her face is caved in.
Exactly.
Cool. You don't see the actual cave in.
Right.
Now with the guy, you kind of do. He gets a good smack on the noggin, which I think knocks him out. / he's pretty much dead.
Yep.
They pass the hammer, the mallet, to a woman. She does it and smushes the face. She passes off to one more, and one more for good measure, because why not?
Oh, yeah. There is a lot of gore in this movie, so we had really our pick.
Yeah.
Like even the guy walking around in Mark's, like, skin outfit, like, And then they don't even have, like, because when they burn everybody's bodies at the end, they obviously don't have any insides for Mark. So they have to stuff him with straw.
I wonder where they used the meat for when they made those meat pies.
I was going to say.
Because Simon disappears.
Yep.
And they make meat pies. You think,
Yes.
they turn Simon into food. No. Mm-hmm. Because he was turned to a blood eagle. Like, he wasn't. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of but that's the other thing I like about this movie is there's just enough question marks where you don't feel cheated, but you also feel like they've explored enough, but not given too much away where your mind can still wander.
Yeah.
And I really like that unknown sort of aspect. I don't know. Yeah.
yeah.
Yay. How was Midsommar?
That was Midsommar.
Ooh, ooh. Also longer movie, an hour and 48 minutes. So really buckle in if you're going to watch it.
No, it's 2 hours.
I thought it said on IMDb an hour, 148 minutes.
No, this is like 220.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
This is also, I think,
Is it 148 minutes? Isn't that?
that's theatrical.
Oh.
I think we saw the director's cut where they added half hour more.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Boom.
Good for us.
Hooray.
It's long.
It's a longer movie, but to me, it was paced so
But it
well.
feels good.
It flew by. It was a well-paced movie.
Exactly. I agree. 100%.
Yeah.
Yay.
What about next week, Alana?
Wow. Next week.
Maybe.
I already forget what we're
Ready or
just
not?
watched it. Oh, we just
You were-
looked it up.
You were not ready for Ready or Not.
I'm not ready. And this movie has been like all over. Everybody's been really into this movie. It is a very dark comedy horror movie. There's lots of funny parts of it. And it's about eating the rich. So, I mean, here we are, you know. It's one of my favorite things about 2020 is Eat the Rich. So,
I like the song by Jericho's band Fozzy.
oh, yeah.
That's a good song.
Is this song literally called Eat the Rich?
It's a cover. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'll play it for you after this. I play on here, but play it with copyright, and we don't want that.
Yeah, yeah. Let's
So-
avoid that.
But listeners, that can stop you. Go to YouTube, look it up. Eat the Rich, either by Fozzy or whoever they copied it from, or covered it from. I forget who's the original singer. But
Yeah, we're doing Ready or Not next week. and
if we can find it,
we can find it.
Okay.
I saw it on somewhere. I'm gonna have to find it again, but I did have it somewhere.
worst case, I'll just make a run to Sunrise and
Or we can
snoop.
just rent it on YouTube. It's probably $3 or PlayStation.
True. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
We'll see.
we're resourceful. What can I say?
Yep.
And thank you everybody for joining us. This episode was brought to you by our executive producer Ichabod. We hope you enjoyed your Horr-Gasm as much as we did. Please don't forget to rate, download, and subscribe. Also, like and follow us on Facebook at Horr-Gasm Podcast, Instagram at Horr-Gasm, Twitter at Gasm Horror, and YouTube at the Horr-Gasm Podcast. If you have a movie you'd like us to review, this is the best way to let us know. We hope to see you again next week because we have such sights to show you. Plenty of Horr-Gasms for you to experience.
Later.
Bye!